The Genius Files, Mission Unstoppable, written by Dan Gutman. Welcome back, Warrior friends. We are ready for the second half of Chapter 16, which was titled Dad's Gone Wild. As the RV pulled away, Coke and Pepsi waved to Bones and Maya out the back window, and they wondered how they would ever get to Kansas. After the morning's excitement, the rest of the day seemed to go by in a blur. They passed the southern part of the Great Salt Lake, which is the largest salt lake in the Western Hemisphere. It's 2 to 5 times more salty than the ocean. Just about anybody could float in it. Do you think it's possible to drown in there? Pepsi wondered out loud. Sure, Coke replied, if somebody holds your head under the water long enough. Legend had it there was a monster in the Great Salt Lake with a body like a crocodile and a horse's head. Mrs. McDonald said she wanted to take a look and write about it for her Amazing But True. But everybody agreed that they had had enough salt for the day, and they decided to press on. In Salt Lake City, behind the state capitol, there is what is called Gravity Hill. According to the locals, a guy named Emu was buried in the area. At midnight, his grave gives off a blue glow, and a ghost warps the gravity so that cars that are parked at the bottom of Gravity Hill will roll uphill. Mrs. McDonald insisted they could try it, but it didn't work. Maybe it does with a Mini Cooper or a smart car, but not with an RV. Then Mrs. McDonald wanted to drive 3 hours north of Salt Lake City to go to Blackfoot, Idaho. It's the potato capital of the world. They have the world's largest potato there, made out of styrofoam, and they also have the world's largest potato chip, which is about the size of a pizza. But the rest of the family voted against it, even if it meant they would not be able to sample potato fudge or potato ice cream, which was sold in their gift shop. It was still early in the day, so Dr. McDonald decided to see how many miles he could cover. A little over an hour from Salt Lake City, everybody whooped and hollered when they saw a sign that read, "Welcome to Wyoming." Did you know that Wyoming has the fewest people of any state? Said Coke. Thank you, Mr. Know-It-All, said his sister. How much longer until the largest ball of twine in the world? 785 miles to Cawker City, replied Mrs. McDonald. Floor it, Dad, Coke yelled, just like you did at the Bonneville Salt Flats. I don't think so, said Dr. McDonald, but he did push the gas pedal down just a little bit harder, bumping the needle on the speedometer just past 70 miles per hour. Everybody wanted to get to the largest ball of twine in Cawker City, Kansas, as quickly as possible, all for their own reasons. Coke and Pepsi wanted to get there because they had been assigned to stop an attack that was supposed to be there. Mrs. McDonald wanted to get there to gather information for her Amazing But True. And Dr. McDonald wanted to get there because, well, he just wanted to get it over with. Once he saw this stupid ball of twine, he reasoned, nobody would ever ask him to go there again. But first they had to get through Wyoming and a good part of Nebraska. Dr. McDonald was tired of driving, but he refused to let Mrs. McDonald take over the wheel. Maybe it's sexist, but he felt like driving was his job. And besides, his wife was a terrible driver. One time, she set out for a trip to San Diego and she wound up in Fresno. Well, I-80 runs nearly 400 miles across the bottom of Wyoming. Mrs. McDonald calculated that they could do it in less than 6 hours without stopping. That would mean no side trip to Vernal, Utah, which calls itself the dinosaur capital of the world. Mrs. McDonald would not be able to buy petrified dino poop souvenirs in the gift shop. That would mean there would be no side trip to Estes Park, Colorado, where they have the key to Hitler's bomb shelter on display. Perfect, Amazing But True materials. And they would have to miss seeing the giant sculpture of Abraham Lincoln's head in Laramie, Wyoming. They would have to skip Chimney Rock, a rock that doesn't look like a chimney anyway. And halfway across the state, they would pass a sign that read Continental Divide. Did you know that the rivers west of this spot all flow to the Pacific Ocean, Koch asked? And the rivers east of here all empty into the Atlantic? Nobody cares, smarty pants, Pepsi told him. They still had a long way to go before they would see the largest ball of twine in the world. They would have to endure the spectral forest, wildflowers, roaring rivers, the bighorn sheep lumbering alongside the highway, and the golden eagles that were circling overhead. Eventually, the Rockies flattened out and they gave way to the Great Plains on the eastern part of the state. And finally, after 400 miles and 5.5 hours of driving across the largest rectangle in the world, they spotted a sign that said, "Welcome to Nebraska." That's the end of chapter 16. You can see that chapter 17 is titled An Extremely Large Ball of Twine. Join me again and we'll find out what happens at the largest ball of twine.